What's up, Warriors fans, and welcome back to Warriors Latest. As always, I am your host, Max Arizin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you enjoy the show today, as I do post new Warriors videos daily. Now, after watching this game against the Lakers, it was round two of the Lakers Warriors October series, as I like to call it. I gotta say, I was a little disappointed. Now, don't get me wrong, the Warriors put in a good effort, but there was just something missing with the team, and watching it. You knew what they had the potential to be, yet they didn't reach that potential, and at the end of the day, it cost them. And just as a Warriors fan, I don't want that to happen. I want to enjoy a good win because they looked like they were going to come back. They really did, and they just didn't succeed in that. And I think that is partly due to a number of factors, but most of all, at least from what I saw, that's due to Quentin Post. Now, during the game, Quentin had a solid game. I believe he had three 3 pointers. He was, I want to say, no, was it four? It was likely four, but he hit a lot of 3 pointers. He did well, but the only shots he hit were from three. And if you're a big man who's a 7 footer, you got to make some points in the paint, and all his shots were from three. So you got to I understand that from the standpoint of you want to stretch the floor to allow the likes of Jimmy, Draymond, and maybe even Kuminga to be there, and drive to the basket. But at a certain point, you gotta be a presence in the post. And his performance, while solid, did not give me that. And on top of that, DeAndre Ayton had a field day with Quentin Post, and like I've said multiple times, like there's got to be some sort of effort at being a solid 7 footer. They're going to go up against Anthony Davis. They're going to go up against DeAndre Ayton. They're going to go up against Rudy Gobert, Joker, so on and so forth. Alperen Sengun, Isaiah Hartenstein. They're going to go up against those guys, and they need a 7 footer to go up against those type of guys. But if they're getting beat by the likes of DeAndre Ayton, that's a problem. So they've got to look more into that. And as I've said before, maybe they should look into utilizing part of the trade exception to acquire the likes of Andre Drummond, or just sign another 7 footer like Alex Len, who is currently with the Knicks and is eventually going to get released, but he can be that secondary 7 footer to go along with Al Horford, Draymond when they want to do the small ball lineup, as well as Quentin Post. That's just going to be that solid rotation that any true championship contender really needs. Now, in terms of what happened this game, I got to give credit where credit's due, and the credit really goes to Draymond. Now, Horford didn't play. Jimmy didn't play and Steph didn't play. We didn't see any of Steph Curry. We just saw Draymond and the bench mob, as I like to call it. And I got to admit, Draymond did not fill up the stat sheet, but his presence was felt both on defense and on offense. I think he posted a triple single below 5 in each category. I think it was 2-3-2 or 3-2-3. One of those, but you could see when you watched the game how much of an effect he had on it. He would just direct traffic. He would be on ball with the guy and just made sure it moved a different way, where they take a bad shot or they drive to the basket and miss, and then the Warriors would end up getting the rebound. So I did like what I saw today overall, because you're not working with your main guys. You're working with the likes of just bench mob guys. You're working with Buddy Hield. You're working with Gary Payton II. You're working with Quentin Post, who did have a good game last game. But again, it's what have you done for me lately, where he has to transfer that over to the current game. And he didn't exactly do that. But on top of that, you're looking at the likes of Pat Spencer. You're looking at the as I said, Buddy Hield. You're looking at the likes of who else? Gary Payton II. Just many other players that really aren't scorers, and you're relying on them. Even Jonathan Kuminga, he had a good game, but he should have done better considering the shining lights were on him and people expected him to perform. And it was just disappointing. But most importantly, the one guy who really didn't disappoint and surprised even me for as much smack as I talked to him for was Brandon Pods. But with him, it's like I saw like what he did during the game, and my head was a little turned because I did not expect that from him. Now I'm watching him during the game, and it's really turning into he's just finding ways to contribute. Like Draymond is finding openings for him. He is, how do I put it? He's just like finding the right lanes, finding the right cuts, and he's being able to get those baskets. He went 23, 8 assists, as well as 5 rebounds for this game. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is a guy I thought the Warriors would trade in the offseason because he didn't have the best of postseasons when the Warriors were really riding high on that momentum. But he's shown that with this game, all right, he needs further consideration. He shouldn't just be traded for the average Joe. And if you're not going to be traded for the average Joe, all right, let's see what you got. I look forward to the next game when they give him even more minutes. There's a reason he was a starter last game, and I think this is really the reason behind it because he's shown that he's worthy of that successor role if he continues to play like this. Like, is he going to continue to play like this? I'm on the fence. But just this kind of outburst that I saw, it's just something to be like something to take notice of. Because we look at it, it's a long season, and let's be honest, Pods is going to come off the bench, especially if you got a Quentin Post, a Al Horford, and then a Draymond and a Jimmy, and then a Steph lineup that allows Draymond and Jimmy to attack the basket. He's going to be like the sixth man for this Warriors team. So if he continues to do well and continues to find ways to improve, he will be that eventual successor for Steph, for Draymond, for Jimmy when they decide to retire or if they decide to move to a different team. I don't say that for Jimmy and Steph, but I wouldn't put it past Draymond to go to Detroit for his final season before he calls it a career. In all fairness, I wouldn't blame him either because you know what? They're going to need as young as the Pistons are, they're going to need a guy like Draymond Green to keep them together, be that glue guy. So when the Warriors do decide to fully rebuild, I do look forward to that Draymond Green Detroit Pistons lineup. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, bottom line is the Warriors overall have to they need to take the preseason seriously. Not just because it's it's a tune-up to the regular season, but because of how much it builds momentum for what they're trying to do. When you're going after the NBA championship, you have to have that mindset where you are a winner. And to win means to start from the very beginning. And by very beginning, I'm not talking about the regular season starting off out then. I'm talking about the preseason. You have to have a good record in the preseason. Let's call the most recent Warriors game a big fluke because Steph and Jimmy weren't playing. But the fact that Draymond was able to lead a semi-decent comeback attempt still speaks volume. But you have to have those wins to build momentum into the regular season. You go in, say they have their first game. All right, win. They have a 5-game winning streak. to start off, and maybe they win, let's say, 15 of their next 20. Next thing you know, they're 20-5 to start off the season, and they're just miles ahead of every single other team. So if the Warriors want to do well, they got to remember, like, yes, it is preseason, but let's still play for that W. It's not just about giving minutes to the guys you want to see improve, like Pods, who did well, like Quentin Post, like Trace Jackson Davis, who also scored in double digits this past game, as I didn't mention before, which is very impressive because he's a guy I really want to see make that jump forward. But they're making these strides, but they got to make sure they keep winning. And if you're sacrificing the W in exchange for, okay, oh, we gave everybody minutes, what are you playing for? You don't play for giving everybody minutes. This isn't like the B team of your AAU, or not AAU, your high school, your Catholic League basketball team where you have a team A, team B, where team B everybody gets minutes. I understand you want to see who you have on the roster, but end of the day, you're last dancing this. And if you're last dancing this, you got to know who's going to help you to win and who you have to trade away. Like Buddy Hield was great, Pat Spencer was great, a lot of guys were great, but we're here to win a title right now. We don't have time to beat around the bush. Our job is to build that momentum, win, and continue to win as that goes into the regular season. Now, that's all we have today for Warriors Latest. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you enjoyed the show today. And if you have any ideas on what the Warriors need to do to improve, because I just was like so disappointed watching this game. Like they had the comeback in their hands, yet they let it slip. But if you have an idea, feel free to comment below, as I love to hear your thoughts. And as always, go Dubs.